2,000 years ago, in a candlelit room in Jerusalem, a man breaks bread and lifts a cup of wine. "This is my blood," he says. "Do this in remembrance of me." For believers, this is the Last Supper, the birth of a sacred ritual. But for some historians, it's the birth of a mystery. That simple, humble cup would one day become the most sought-after relic in the world, the Holy Grail. After the crucifixion, legend says Joseph of Arimathea collected Christ's blood in that very cup. Fleeing persecution, he carried it to the misty shores of Britain, burying it at Glastonbury. Centuries later, monks claimed to find his grave there. When they opened it, the earth was stained red. The story spread like wildfire. The cup of salvation was real, and finding it meant eternal life. But the Bible never mentions a grail. So where did this legend truly begin? In the late 20th century, the Grail re-emerged, not as a cup, but as a symbol of blood itself. The Holy Grail, according to this theory, wasn't the vessel that held the blood of Christ. It was his bloodline. Books like The Da Vinci Code proposed that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife, and their descendants, the Merovingian kings of France, carried this divine lineage forward, protected by secret societies like the Knights Templar. If true, the Grail wasn't an object, but a woman. Not a relic, but a revelation. Art historians point to clues hidden in plain sight. In Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, the figure to Christ's right has undeniably feminine features. Between them, an empty space forms a V, the ancient symbol of the feminine womb. Was Leonardo encoding the truth? While the Church dismissed it as heresy, hidden symbols in Europe's cathedrals, roses, chalices, and sacred geometry suggest a message whispered through the ages. The Grail isn't something to be found outside of us, but within. But if a bloodline existed, who protected it? Enter the most enigmatic warriors in history, the Knights Templar. In 1119, 9 knights arrived in Jerusalem. For 9 years, they dug beneath the ruins of Solomon's temple. When they emerged, they were no longer poor, but incredibly powerful. Rumors swirled that they had found the Grail. Their power grew, and so did fear. On Friday the 13th, 1307, the King of France had them arrested, tortured, and burned. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, cursed the king and pope with his dying breath, and both were dead within a year. But what happened to their legendary treasure and the Grail? Some say it was smuggled to Scotland and hidden beneath Rosslyn Chapel, whose carvings whisper of Grail symbols. Others say it was carried to the fortress of Montségur in Spain. When the fortress fell in 1244, 4 knights were said to have escaped with a secret chest. Its contents were never seen again. The Grail, it seems, always slips just beyond our reach, reshaping itself with every generation. In the mists of medieval Britain, the legend merged with another great tale, King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. In these stories, the Grail wasn't a relic to be possessed, but a symbol of divine perfection, a test of purity and faith. Only the purest knight, Galahad, could behold it. Upon seeing it, he didn't die, he ascended, achieving direct communion with the divine. The quest became an inward journey. But hidden beneath these Christian ideals are echoes of something far older. Celtic myths of magical cauldrons that grant rebirth and wisdom. The cup of Christ and the cauldron of rebirth may be 2 faces of the same eternal symbol. The Grail, once a simple cup, had become a mirror of the soul. Wherever the Grail legend appeared, secret societies followed. The Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, each claimed to hold ancient forbidden knowledge. They spoke of spiritual alchemy and sacred geometry, encoding their secrets into the very architecture of cathedrals. Some believe these magnificent structures are not just places of worship, but maps leading to the Grail, a blueprint of divine consciousness. Meanwhile, the Vatican guarded its own secrets. Within its archives lie miles of shelves holding texts too controversial for public view. Does evidence of the Grail lie hidden there? In the 19th century, a priest in the small French village of Rennes-le-Château suddenly became inexplicably wealthy after discovering something in his church. He decorated it with bizarre coded symbols, hinting at secret bloodlines. Before his death, he refused to reveal his secret, saying only, "It will shake the foundations of the church." The hunt for the Grail even reached the 20th century, when it took a much darker turn. The Nazis, led by Heinrich Himmler, were obsessed with occult power. Himmler's SS scoured Europe for ancient relics they believed could grant them world dominion, chief among them, the Holy Grail. He established a dark Camelot in Wewelsburg Castle with a round table for his 12 chosen knights, but whatever he was looking for vanished with the fall of his regime. From the tunnels beneath Montségur to the mysterious money pit on Oak Island in Nova Scotia, the hunt continues. Explorers and historians follow clues, but every discovery only leads to another question. The Grail seems to retreat as we draw closer, as if guarding itself. Perhaps the Grail was never meant to be found. What if it's not an object at all, but a message? A message encoded in myth, art, and architecture, waiting not to be discovered, but to be understood. A reminder that the most profound truths aren't found in a lost chalice, but within the depths of the human heart. The quest for the Grail may not be about finding a thing, but about the search itself. For nearly 2,000 years, we have chased the Grail through deserts, across oceans, and into the vaults of kings. Yet perhaps the greatest secret is that the Grail was never lost. We simply forgot how to see it. In esoteric traditions, the Grail is not a cup, but a vessel of transformation. The chalice represents the human heart, the wine, the divine spark within it. To drink from the Grail is to awaken, to remember that heaven and earth meet inside the soul. The alchemists of the Middle Ages described their work not as turning lead into gold, but ignorance into wisdom. The Grail was the ultimate alchemical vessel, the athanor in which the base metal of the human spirit could be refined into pure light. Mystics spoke of 3 trials on the Grail path: the trial of faith, believing in what cannot be seen; the trial of courage, facing the darkness within; and the trial of compassion, seeing the divine in all living things. Only those who passed all 3 could behold the Grail, for it reveals itself not to the eye, but to the heart. Modern psychology echoes this ancient truth. Carl Jung saw the Grail quest as a symbol of the individuation process, the journey toward wholeness. In the Grail Castle, the wounded Fisher King mirrors our own suffering. The land is barren until the seeker asks one simple question: whom does the Grail serve? The answer: it serves the good that heals all, restores both king and kingdom. The Grail is the medicine of empathy. Across cultures, the same archetype appears. In Buddhism's alms bowl, in Hinduism's Amrita, in Taoism's elixir of immortality. The vessel of divine essence has many forms, but always the same message. Enlightenment lies not in possession, but in realization. What if we already found it? Suppose the Grail was never meant to be discovered in a cave or crypt. Suppose it has always been here, hidden in plain sight. Consider this. Every civilization that sought the Grail advanced its understanding of science, art, and spirit. The Templars brought mathematics and architecture from the East. The alchemists birthed chemistry. Even today, physicists searching for the God particle pursue the same ultimate question: what is the substance that connects everything? Some modern scholars see the Grail as a metaphor for consciousness itself, the capacity to contain divine awareness within a mortal form. The cup, then, is the human brain. The wine, the flow of universal energy that gives rise to thought, love in the quiet monasteries of Kyoto and the hushed gardens of Kanazawa. They spoke of Kase, an unseen force that binds the universe. They encoded its essence not in grand pronouncements, but in the subtle gesture of a tea master, the deliberate cut of a swordsmith, and the silent rhythm of the changing seasons. For centuries, we have searched for the source of Japanese aesthetics, looking for it in scrolls, in temples, and in the codified rules of art. Yet perhaps the greatest secret is that Kase was never a doctrine to be learned. It was a presence to be felt. In esoteric Eastern thought, Kase is not an object or a concept, but the vital flowing energy that animates all things. It is the invisible current that shapes a cloud, guides a brushstroke, and gives life to a garden. To perceive Kase is to awaken, to recognize that the cosmos and the self are not separate, but part of a single dynamic whole. The samurai of feudal Japan described their path not as the mastery of a weapon, but as the harmonization with Kase. The sword was the vessel, the spirit of the warrior, the catalyst. The ultimate victory was not over an opponent, but over the illusion of a separate self, allowing the sword to move as an extension of the universal flow. Mystics outlined 3 stages on the path to understanding Kase: the stage of form, mastering the physical techniques and rules; the stage of emptiness, letting go of conscious effort and ambition; and the stage of spontaneity, acting in perfect accord with the moment, guided by the unseen current. Only those who passed through all 3 could truly wield Kase, for its power is revealed not to the mind, but to the spirit that has learned to be still. Modern physics echoes this ancient intuition. Quantum mechanics reveals a world where particles are not solid things, but possibilities, their reality emerging from a sea of potential. The observer and the observed are inextricably linked. This principle of non-locality mirrors the core of Kase, the idea that all things are connected by an underlying, invisible field. Across cultures, the same archetype appears. In the Taoist concept of the Tao, the formless flow that gives rise to all forms. In the Greek idea of logos, the divine ordering principle of the cosmos. In the Hindu notion of Arta, the cosmic order that governs the universe. The vital energy of existence has many names, but always the same message. True mastery lies not in control, but in surrender. Suppose Kase was never meant to be defined or captured. Suppose it has always been here, present in the most ordinary moments. Consider this. Every art form that embraces Kase has elevated its craft into a spiritual discipline. The tea ceremony, or chanoyu, transformed the simple act of drinking tea into a meditation on impermanence and harmony. Ikebana, the art of flower arrangement, became a practice of revealing the life force within a single branch. Even today, designers and architects who study Japanese principles pursue the same fundamental question. How do we create spaces and objects that resonate with the natural flow of life? Some contemporary thinkers see Kase as a metaphor for emergent systems, the way complex patterns arise from simple interconnected parts. The murmuration of starlings, the growth of a forest, the functioning of a city, all are expressions of Kase. The flow, then, is the invisible set of rules that governs a system. The form it takes is the beautiful, unpredictable result. To understand Kase is to grasp that order does not need a commander. It can arise from connection itself. Others turn to biology. Biophilic design, a modern architectural movement, posits that humans have an innate need to connect with nature. It claims that buildings incorporating natural light, organic materials, and flowing spaces, all elements of Kase, can improve our physical and mental well-being. The unseen force of the Japanese masters was not a mystical abstraction, but a deep biological truth. We are part of the web of life, and we thrive only when we honor that connection. Yet whether it is quantum energy, biological instinct, or a spiritual principle, Kase continues to fascinate us because it mirrors our deepest desire, the desire for harmony, for meaning, and for a seamless connection with the world around us. In recent decades, something remarkable has occurred. The principles once whispered in Zen monasteries and dojos are now appearing everywhere. In business leadership, in minimalist design, and in the language of mindfulness. Scientists now study chaos theory, where seemingly random systems contain a deep, underlying order. They call this the strange attractor, a pattern that guides the system without ever being visible itself. Mystics have described Kase in the same way for centuries, an invisible center around which all things revolve. Could it be that the true nature of Kase is this very dynamic of ordered chaos, the unseen hand that shapes the universe? Digital culture, too, has become a kind of vessel for Kase. The flow of information on the internet, the collaborative creation of open-source software, the emergent trends that sweep across social media, all demonstrate a collective energy shaping itself without a central leader. The ancient pursuit of selfless action has found a new medium, a global mind, acting and reacting in a ceaseless flowing dance. And yet, amid this cascade of connection, the same challenge returns. What will we do with this flow? Connection without purpose is mere noise. Kase offers harmony, but only to those who seek to contribute, not just consume. As our world fragments under political division, environmental stress, and a crisis of meaning, humanity stands once again at the threshold of understanding. The question is not whether we can perceive Kase, but whether we are ready to align with it. From the rock gardens of Ryoanji to the minimalist stores of today, from the warrior's code of Bushido to the modern practice of corporate mindfulness, Kase has left a trail of beauty, discipline, and profound calm. Each artist, warrior, or tea master who follows that trail adds a new expression to the legacy, a legacy not of conquering nature, but of becoming one with it. For Kase is not the masterpiece at the end of the process, it is the process itself. When the last samurai laid down his sword, when the ancient craft guilds faded into history, when modern life replaced ritual with routine, Kase remained, quietly flowing through the veins of a leaf, the pattern of rain on a window, and the breath of a sleeping child. Perhaps that is its truest function, to call us back to the present moment, to make us listen, to remind us that the sacred is not found in a grand temple, but in the simple, unadorned truth of what is. So when you hear the word Kase, think not of an exotic Japanese concept, but of a universal energy waiting to be felt in your own life. For Kase does not belong to monks or masters, but to all who ask, with humble attention, how can I move in harmony with the world? The answer is the same now as it was 1,000 years ago. It is to serve the flow that connects all things, and so the principle endures. Kase still waits, not in a distant land or an ancient text, but in the quiet moment when the actor and the action become one. The path never ends, because Kase was never meant to be understood, only experienced. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this exploration into history's greatest mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.